I love every minute of this. Y'all, look, Vivek is about to, destroy, put on blast, really, Kamala Harris for using her fake accent when she wants to shapeshift to be a black woman when she visited Atlanta. Check this out.
Your reaction to this White Dudes for Harris and how they're trying to be a counter for what they say was this, sort of masculine approach from the RNC and the way they discuss MAGA dudes.
Well, the reality is this is a party, Martha, that is obsessed with identity politics. I think it's disgusting and anti-American. But the idea of segregating different groups based on your race or your ethnicity or your gender, I just think is un-American at its core. It is consistent with the basis for selecting Kamala Harris. Remember, many of the prominent Democrats at the time she was selected as the vice president for Joe Biden specifically referenced her own race and gender, which I think made no sense at the time. But I will give them points for consistency. Say one thing, this is a party obsessed with identity politics, and they're certainly running their campaign accordingly, even though I think it's going to backfire in the end.
Yeah, you know what? I think you make a great point, because I looked back at articles from 2020 and President Biden said, then candidate, he said that he was looking at like 10 women for vice president. And he said 4 of those women are black women. And that was given, sort of a lot of attention as a good thing. And I couldn't help but think, if you're in that subset and you're a woman, you're thinking, OK, so now he's already only considering me because I'm a woman instead of letting me run against everybody in the entire pool. And if you're a black woman, he's making that group even smaller that you're competing against. And I think that a lot of people agree with you on that diminishes being chosen in that employment contest.
I think it does, absolutely. And I think it's denigrating, frankly, to women and to black Americans across this country to suggest that you need a special type of quota system. I remember watching those Democratic primaries. These are exact quotes from other prominent Democrats, senators and others, who famously said, it's time for a woman of color on that ticket. I don't think the race or gender of a person should matter one way or another. And I do think, Marsha, this is also a moment for us to go to actually standing for our own values as a party.
And that's the thing, right? Like, I don't see how people do not understand or grasp the concept of wanting to be put in positions based off of merit and not just based off of some false quota system. Like, it's completely insulting. They're literally saying, hey, you don't have to think for yourself. You don't have to do any thinking. All you have to do is fit the gender, fit the ethnic background, and you qualify. Like, that's insulting, Come on, man. Come on, Vivek. Keep talking your talk, dog.
Martha, this is also a moment for us to go to actually standing for our own values as a party. I do believe that we need a bit of a reset in this campaign. If we're being honest and being clear-eyed, I think the reality is Kamala's new de facto nomination, coronation, whatever you want to call it, after the Republican convention, was a bit of a shock that caught a lot of Republicans by blindside. And the reality is we now have to take a big step back and say, we're going to offer our own vision of what we stand for. I think the attacks on Kamala alone are not going to be enough. We're already seeing that over the last week. I think we have to stand for our own alternative vision that we believe in merit. The reason that we're critical of identity politics isn't because we're against the Democrats. It's because we stand for meritocracy, and that's part of who we are as Americans. And so as much as I'm critical of the Democrats, I also think now is a moment for a wake-up call on our own side. We need to use this as a chance to reset and level set and focus on our own vision for the future of this country. And the more we do that, the more successful we're going to be. Frankly, the less we do it, the more risk I do see heading into November.
All right, let me ask you a little bit about this rather heated National Association of Black Journalists interview with former President Trump and current GOP candidate, because he's going to get a lot of attention for saying this, and I want to hear what you think about it. He basically, and I know you didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing, so let's play the sound, and then we'll get your reaction.
She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She is always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't.
All right. Vivek, I want to give you a chance to react to that. No doubt it's going to get attention. It already is.
Yeah, so look, on a very personal level, my parents were immigrants to this country, legal immigrants from southern India, very same part of India that her mother also immigrated from. I think it's a hard fact, Martha, it's just a fact, whether you like it or not, that many Indian Americans in the United States are indeed somewhat offended by the way Kamala has suddenly cast aside the Indian American side of her identity. She leaned into it when she ran for office in California. Big Asian American and Indian American population. So she wore that when it was convenient. She's wearing a different identity now when it's politically convenient on a national stage. Personally, I don't think we should be relying on these ethnic identities at all. We're actually American. And the problem is when you're Kamala Harris and you actually do lean into your identity politics, then you open the door to that type of criticism. But if you ask me, that shouldn't be how this election is decided one way or another. It should be decided on our own identity as Americans and what our vision is for the future of the country. And the number one thing missing in Kamala Harris's candidacy is that she lacks that vision for the country. That's what we got to focus on.
So what's happening is it looks like Kamala Harris has been changing her race for virtually every position she has ran for. You even have uncensored AI right here, and it asked them, is Kamala Harris African American? It responded, no, she is not African American. She was born October 20th, 1964 in Oakland, California. Her mother, we know the story pretty much right now. She's a fraud. All right. And no one of any race should respect somebody who can be proud of their ethnic background. Honestly. And Vivek, I'm glad he was able to speak to this because we know it's been well known that his family came here as immigrants and they've been able to see through it to see the American dream come, into fruition. And it's like, him also being Indian, it's like getting that perspective from the Indian community is needed. Because, we got the black people over here like, oh, y'all trying to remove her from being black. But you also got the Indian community like, hey, she's not proud to be one of us. There's a problem here. She's trying to pander to both races and making herself look horrible and insensitive to everyone. That's what I call fraud-like behavior. I don't care what you say. And shout out to Vivek. He consistently makes sense. And I wish more Americans, including politicians, were like him. Low key, just to be able to think objectively and to think with a level mind. We should all be done accepting the bigotry and racism in all these identity politics. It should be done, I do agree, though, in terms of the whole JD Vance thing, continuing to attack Kamala or cat ladies or, not libs. Libs ain't off the table. I don't think it's going over voters. It just engineers the other side and drives them further away. And that's not what we're here to do. We're only here to present the facts, okay? Let's read some of these comments. Kamala presents no vision for the future or the country, only division. Yes, literally, quite literally, man. What else we got here? Kamala will be a crazy, willing, woke puppet. It's the Dem/woke-owned media amplifying everything they do to reprogram their drones via emotional engagement, lying and promising everything insane, but they fanatically want to win to the point of destruction. And that's the part that's scary right there. These guys are willing to kill everything in their path in order to get what they want. And that's not okay. Criticizing Trump for commenting that Kamala was Indian and now she is suddenly black is a bit unfair considering how she ran her campaigns, choosing the identity politics that she felt would give her the most votes. Our patriotic American identity should cover all races. Amen to that. And I don't get it, man. I don't know why the double standard is there. It's because he's Donald Trump. Let's just be honest. It's because he's Donald Trump that he's not allowed to criticize anybody black. Nothing like that, right? Or if you white in this day and age, you're not able to criticize anybody black. My people, we can dish it out in a lot of instances, but we can't take it. Not all of us, but a good majority of us, man, we definitely suffer from those emotional responses versus actually sitting there and trying to comprehend what actually was being said there. You feel me? Let's read a few more comments. She has used every possible tool to get where she is besides her brain. She started by selling her body to prominent politicians. Now it's trying to identify as a skin color. Always be wary of someone who will be exactly who you want them to be. Please, y'all. She is one of the characters that is willing to do anything she has to do to gain power. And that is dangerous, my friend.